Exactly.
Life and health are different. All
That's
right,
correct.
we'll come to order, and we'll call in case number 627133, State of Texas versus Austin Parker. Are you Mr. Austin Parker?
Yes, sir.
Are you the same Austin Parker that was charged with the offense of DWI with a blood alcohol content of 0.15 or higher, said to have occurred on November the 11th, 2019? Are you he?
Yes, sir.
All right, would you please raise your right hand? You solemnly swear that in this proceeding, the information and responses you submit will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. You may put your hand down. Mr. Parker, I'm going to discuss with you several constitutional protections and rights that you have. Then during this proceeding, we're going to discuss actual written documents that pretty well repeat the same thing I'm going to tell you, perhaps 2 or 3 times. So when you see a repetition of the questions, don't let that worry you. It's part of the process. But I want to cover it verbally on the record, and then we'll do it in writing. Number 1, in any criminal proceeding, you have a constitutional right to remain silent. That means you don't have to say anything at all. You don't have to answer any questions. You don't have to submit any written papers that have your signature, particularly papers that admit or confess to wrongdoing. Do you understand you have that right?
Yes, sir.
And you're giving up that right in this proceeding, is that correct?
Correct.
And you're doing it voluntarily, freely and voluntarily, is that true?
Yes, sir.
All right. Now, you also have a right to a jury trial. That right you're also giving up because you're going to enter a plea. Do you understand that you could say, wait a minute, no, I want a jury trial? At any time you could say that. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
And you are giving up that right to a jury trial.
Yes.
With that right, you're also giving up the right to confront any witnesses who would testify for you or against you. You can ask them questions, you can challenge them, whatever you and your attorney would think would be appropriate. But you're giving up that right too because you're going to enter a plea. Is that understood?
Yes, sir.
There's also a right called the right to appeal. That right generally, I'll explain to you, saying that either you or your attorney or the two of you together have the right to demand that a higher court review the record of this proceeding plus the evidence. The record being prepared by Kayleen Rivera, the certified court reporter. That right you're also giving up because you're entering into a plea bargain, and there'll be a separate document even that talks about that. Do you understand that you're giving up the right to appeal?
Yes, sir.
All right. Now, further, we're going to get into the meat of this a little bit. You and the state have the right to demand that this proceeding be held in the public courtroom. And generally, the public has an interest in having these matters in public. This will be placed on YouTube. In fact, it is right now. And the public, the world can tune in and see all of us that are participating and see you and hear you and look at the papers, if any, that we present. That right, you have the right to waive the demand that it be in the public courtroom or otherwise. What we're doing is what's called a video conference. Do you understand that that's how it's being done right now?
Yes, sir.
And you agree to that? You consent to it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And we'll cover that again in writing shortly. All right. Now, having discussed some of the basic information, the first document I'm going to show you, and I will point to you or have you note that at the top, it has basic introductory information, and this will be repeated, the top part in all the documents except one. This is cause number 627133, the state of Texas versus Austin Parker in County Court at Law Number 5, Bexar County, Texas. This document is titled, and all the titles will be in all capitals, bold print. This one is titled State's Consent to Video Conference. As I mentioned to you momentarily, the state also has a right to demand that this be in a public forum other than video conference, but they are agreeing to a video conference. This document is signed on behalf of the district attorney by Randall Jeffries. Now, the document being shown to you now has the introductory information at the top. This one is titled Discovery Acknowledgement. There is a law in our system that's called Article 39.14 of the Code of Criminal Procedure. This particular law requires that the state provide to you and make available to you and your attorney all the information, receipts, documents, anything and everything that is important and is required by law. Plus, it is intended to allow you and your attorney to make an informed and intelligent decision. This document is signed by the state's attorney, Mr. Jeffries, and by Ivan Barrera, your attorney. And I have signed it and approved it and make it part of the record. That document says that they have complied. The state has complied with that law. This document now being shown to you, introductory information, this one says defendants consent to video conference. I asked you a while ago verbally, it was put on the record, you agree that you consent to the video conference. You remember that you've signed this, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. The next document is, again, introductory information. The title is Defendant's Waiver of Constitutional Rights and Court's Admonitions. Did you and your attorney review this document?
Yes, sir.
All right. I will point out that you are talking to the world and to the court, and you're saying, I, Austin Parker. That's how you start. There's 3 individual sentences and then a division of the document into 15 parts, numbered as such. The first sentence says, hey, I don't need you to read to me verbally, literally, the papers that accuse me of DWI with a blood alcohol content of 0.15 or higher. I know that's what I'm being charged with, is what you say in the second sentence. Third sentence, you declare, I hereby enter a plea of nolo contendere to the following allegations, DWI, which will be formalized momentarily. Now, the following part of the document, as I said, is divided into 15 sections. The first one says, you understand that there is a range of punishment in the offense you were charged with. This punishment, first of all, the range, it's presented in a stack of little boxes, vertically stacked. The very first one is checkmarked, indicating that you know and understand that DWI first is punishable by a fine from $0 to $2,000 and 72 hours to 180 days in jail. Do you understand that's the range of punishment applicable to your case?
Yes, sir.
All right. Number 2 in particular, again, as I said earlier, repeats particularly important constitutional rights. It says that you are voluntarily and freely giving up the right to a jury trial, a right to cross-examination of witnesses, and a right to remain silent. You see and understand that?
Yes, sir.
Have you ever had mental health problems?
No, sir.
Have you ever taken or been given mental health medications?
No, sir.
All right. I think number 4 talks about nolo contendere. You're saying here, you're declaring that after you reviewed the evidence with your attorney and under his advice, you believe it is in your best interest to plead nolo contendere, which is I'm not fighting the charge, no contest, nolo contendere. Did you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Have you ever been participant in the sex offender registration program?
No, sir.
All right. Number 6, did you read and understand that?
Yes.
All right. And where were you born, sir?
I was born in Temple, Texas.
All right. For the record, I find that you are a U.S. citizen.
Yes.
Number 9 does not apply to you, nor does number 10. It's my understanding that you have agreed, or it's been arranged for you to get a deferred adjudication. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Did you see number 11 and what it says about deferred adjudication?
Yes, sir.
All right. Understand that I will be making some declarations about it when I grant you that, but I need you to understand that I am not bound by whatever deal that's been made by the state and you. As a judge, I have the authority and responsibility to decide whether this is an acceptable deal in my mind, and it's my mind that decides, and whether I want to give you this punishment that you've agreed to. I am by law allowed to give you any punishment in the range of punishment that we talked about, the number 1 check mark, even if I give you a punishment that's greater than what you agreed to. If I rejected your deal or gave you a punishment greater than what you agreed to, the law would allow you to withdraw your plea and you'd start all over again, and nothing you've said till now or anything that you've signed would be used against you. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
All right. Number 15 also is important to you. Well, they're all important, but it's applicable to you. Under the law, you have a right to have me order a risk and needs assessment before we finish this plea. This would take days or weeks, but from my understanding, you've read this and you've decided you don't need a risk and needs assessment. You're waiving that right. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Very good. These documents are signed by you, by your attorney, by the state, and I have approved them. This document now being shown to you is titled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Right of Appeal. There's a stack of little boxes vertically stacked, and each one has a declaration or a sentence about what right of appeal you have. The 5th box is checkmarked. It says, I am declaring this, by the way, it says, I, judge of the trial court, certify this criminal case. In the check mark number 5 is a plea bargain case and the defendant has no right of appeal. Did you see and understand this declaration by the court?
Yes, sir.
Any questions?
No, sir.
All right. Now, the next document is going to be informational. It is an application for deferred adjudication. Did you and Mr. Barrera carefully review this?
Yes, sir.
Did you see and understand what you're declaring to me under oath regarding the application? Okay. Next document, Patricia. It is signed and approved by all parties, including myself. All right. This one is blank on my screen. Did you fill out one carefully?
Yes, sir.
And did the information that you put in there was true and correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. Now, for my purposes, since I need to look at this carefully, are you employed?
Yes, sir.
Where do you work?
I work at Benson Nissan.
Okay. And are you full-time or part-time?
I'm full-time.
How long have you been with them?
I've been with them going on a year and a half.
Okay, so you're somewhat established. Did you put in 3 references below that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. These are all current, accurate information about people we can look for if we can't find you.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Let's see. What is your date of birth?
September 25th, 1990.
Okie dokie. Are you married or single? Let's see.
Single.
Single. Do you have
Yes.
any dependents?
Yes.
How many?
One.
How old is that rascal?
4.
4 years old, huh?
Yes, sir.
Did you serve in the military?
No, sir.
All right. The next document will be I think it's the plea agreement. So how are things going with Nissan?
They're going good.
Even in spite of COVID?
It's getting better.
Good. I do need to know what generally what your income is, monthly or yearly, either one.
It's commission, so it sometimes varies.
I know, but I need to know an idea of what, see, I need to set the supervisory fee among other things. Also, I'm gonna have to make a determination. Mr. Barrera, are you employed or are you appointed?
Employed, Judge.
Okay, all right. The plea agreement is a little bit different at the top. The information, it does not refer to the court, it just says State of Texas versus Austin Parker, case number, okay? Now, there are 2 immediate check marks. The first one says that you've been admonished regarding the right to remain silent. Then the finding by the court that you are a U.S. citizen. Then the next section is Defendants Acknowledgements. There's 5 boxes stacked vertically. Each one has a declaration. Did you look at these? Again, these refer to the different constitutional rights and protections. It's redundant, it's a repetition, but they are all important. Did you review them and understand them?
Yes, sir.
All right. Now, the next section talks about the DWI plea and where we're going. Now, there's a check mark that says, you may have heard it earlier, but this will be formal and official. The state moves to waive and abandon the following enhancement, that is the extreme intoxication. You heard it as allegation of 0.15 or higher, which is very dangerous, and it is extreme. Now, the state has made that motion, Mr. Edelman.
That is correct, Your Honor. The state moves to waive and abandon the extreme intoxication enhancement and proceed as DWI first, although that is not checked off in
Right.
the check boxes for DWI specific allegations.
I note that, but we'll have that corrected by Ms. Flores. Defense, no objection?
No objection, Your Honor.
I suspected as much. And then Ms. Flores, we need another check mark where it says motion's granted. All right, continue to the plea. Officially, again, Mr. Parker, how do you plead on the charge of DWI first?
No contest.
All right. Just to make things very, very clear, a no contest plea is taken by this court as a plea of guilty. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
And based on that, I can convict you if I choose to. However, I am honoring the agreement that's been made between you and the state, and therefore you granted deferred adjudication for a term of 12 months. You'll be fined $450. If you comply with all the conditions and meet the 100% of the requirements, then you will pay $250, not $450. You will be responsible for participation in completion of 48 hours of community service restitution. You will, can you scroll a little bit? You will participate, you'll enroll and complete in good faith the DWI education program, DWI victim impact panel. You will submit to a TAP evaluation and follow recommendations. You will have ignition interlock installed, the monitor installed into your personal vehicle. If you drive a company vehicle, it will not be installed in the company vehicle, but your vehicle will have to have the ignition interlock for 6 months. Is that understood?
Yes, sir.
During the entire 12 months of your deferred adjudication, or if you make other arrangement, whatever the amount of time that you're on deferred adjudication, you must not have any alcohol at all. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
All right. Let me explain one thing to you. On deferred adjudication, if you fail or refuse to comply with 100% of the conditions of supervision, then the state can ask me to give you official notice and bring you in for a hearing. In fact, I can even issue a warrant and double your bond. There's various things, but nonetheless, there would be a hearing to determine if we go ahead and enter a finding of guilt, a final conviction. You don't want that to happen. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
The supervisory fee, did we get a number from you on your income?
No, sir.
What was it more or less? I realize it's probably going to get better next few months, but tell me what you believe under oath is your income.
It varies around 6,000 a month.
Okay. And you have one, does the one child, your dependent, live with you or live separate from you?
She lives separate from me.
Are you paying child support?
Yes, sir.
How much are you paying?
I'm paying $250 a month.
I want you to know that child support is basically 20%. For one child, it's 20% of your income. So on 6,000 a month, that'd be $1,200. I don't know what the deal is, but you're getting away with murder. You might, if you were smart and really cares about that child, you might want to adjust that voluntarily.
Yes, sir. I pay a lot more than that. That's just what it's obligates me to.
Okay. Give that serious thought, even if I realize that you're doing more, but you may want to do it under the court order. Ask for an amendment of the order so that it's included. Because under the law, $250 a month is all that you're paying. Now, if the mother of the child, I hope that the child is with a mother, not with grandparents or somebody else. Is the child with the mother?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Just be aware, and this has nothing to do with what it does on how I look at things. Be aware that under the law, you're not paying more than $250 and you're making a hell of a lot more than that. So you might want to give serious thought to that. And I will tell you up front that when a father bellies up and he says, hey, I'm making more money, I want to pay legal by law, I want to pay more, that really goes as a plus on you, and you never know when you might need that. If that mother were to die, guess where that baby goes? With you.
Yes, sir.
Unless somebody intervenes and says, no, this guy ain't worth a damn. He's been making thousands and thousands of dollars, and all he was paying was $250. So be careful with that. It can be a poor reflection, or you might choose to make it a real positive one. Okay?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Give it some thought. All right, your supervisory fee, I'm going to set it at $60 a month. And Mr. Edelman, any questions?
Nothing from the state, Your Honor.
Mr. Barrera, any questions?
Just one, Judge. I guess for future references, Mr. Parker already completed the personal data sheet. I have it with me. Who would you like me to send that to?
The county clerk. To my office is Linda Flores. She is the assistant county clerk or deputy county clerk.
Okay, Judge, we'll do it. I'll send it to her, and next time I'll have it prepared for the court before.
No problem. We appreciate your courtesy. One last preach, one last sermon, Mr. Parker. The worst thing that can happen in your life is for you to drink and drive and wind up killing your own child because you were intoxicated and driving. When you drive at 0.15 or higher, and I realize that's not what you were what you pled on, there is a great risk that you can injure your own family, your own child. The second worst thing can happen is that you're driving along, you've been drinking too much, and you kill an innocent person. And that would reflect very badly, and the community would not give you a break. You don't want that to happen. Give serious thought to changing how you got in that position and what steps you need to take to avoid that, okay?
Yes, sir.
All right. You and your family be blessed, be well, and be safe. Same for you, Mr. Barrera. Mari,
Yes.